All right, so another episode of The Godfather of Harlem. First thing I want to point out, seems like Malcolm X is an ongoing character in this series, which I don't want to say I have mixed feelings for because I'm actually excited to watch all the following episodes because I want to see where that character goes. Although it's based on a true, all the characters are pretty much based on true and actual events. But of course, there's probably there's probably like two or three people who are actually alive that were involved in this story. I'm assuming, but there could be, I don't know, there could be more. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Because apparently the year hasn't changed yet. It's still early 60s. So, like I said in the last video I did, I mean, the world hasn't gone to hell in a handbasket quite yet, but the fight for civil rights is, at this particular time, African American civil rights or Americans of African descent, that's on the rise. Of course, me being one, I'm very interested to see how they play this character. Now, continuing on, I guess a major issue in this episode is the fact that the main character doesn't have a strong and steady supply of his drug of choice at the time was heroin, or calling the streets dog food. But anyway, he doesn't have a strong and steady supply of that, so he's going to work on that. Also, he's still basically at war with this Italian fellow. What else happens in this episode? Oh God, yeah. At this point, all that what you call it, like the honeymoon phase or whatever in a relationship, all that, because I'm basically starting a relationship with this series. I mean, if I'm going to be sitting here watching every episode and then making God knows how long video for each one of them, then yeah, the honeymoon phase is already gone after one episode because they've pretty much they've uh they've gotten into the groove of things that this particular show has. Anyway, what I mean by that is you've got his wife basically saving the day in the last two episodes, I feel like, by giving the main character an idea. Um, feels like they're pushing an agenda by doing that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Um, I said something else in the last episode, which I thought was it's just good to see that though, because two minds is always better than one, but it still feels like it's an agenda, kinda. It's like they're pushing an agenda, kinda. But two minds are better than one. I will admit that. Um, let's see what else happened. What else? God, I'm all over the place today. What else happened in this episode? Yeah, let's find a strong state supply drugs. Malcolm X is an ongoing character. Oh, uh, you get to see him interact with his daughter. Now, I just go ahead and start talking about that. So it's interesting. The last episode, the last episode ended by him basically coming in and saving her from this, or trying to save her from the grips of this addiction, right? And now this episode, we see her trying to clean herself up, and his wife brings up such a great point. The character is good. She brings up such a great point. What happens when she gets sober? Is she going to come here? Is she going to do that? Because they've taken her daughter, okay, I don't want to confuse myself here. So his daughter, Bumpy Johnson, that character, Forrest Whitaker, his daughter is addicted to heroin. Okay, which is ironic because he sells heroin. Whatever. Her daughter is under the care of himself and his wife. His wife, Bumpy Johnson's wife, brings up a very great point. What happens when she sobers up? And that's exactly what happens. She's almost out of the woods, so to speak, and she shows up on the doorstep. I want my daughter. Let me see my daughter. Let me see my daughter. She's like, nah. But I mean, she's like so direct and candid about the situation. You're not a mother. You're never going to see her. Look at you. You can't get clean. This, that, and the third. I was like, oh my God. But I think something like that type of language and speaking to her in such a manner and then offering her the $100 over a chance to see her daughter, I think, it has to be done in that situation. And I don't know if anybody who's watching this has any experience with a family member or a friend or anybody that has succumbed to their particular vice and concerns of a drug, but being nice and pussyfooting around or trying to sugarcoat the situation is not going to help anybody. I think she did the right thing in that situation. Now, so, but it was rough to watch for me at least. So let's see, what else happened in this episode? I mentioned he's still at war with this Italian fellow. Now, he pretty much brought back this Italian fellow's daughter, but I guess he's under the impression that she's kidnapped, but not really. I mean, she was. It's not complicated. She stole some drugs from her father, got her black boyfriend. They went on a run. They're gonna sell the drugs, get some more money, blah 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 blah, because they want to be together. And this is at the time when it's open racism. Like, I mean, I guarantee you that there's some families out there who are like, you can't bring such and such back to this house. If you're in a relationship with them, just don't do it. You're not part of the family. I guarantee you there's still families like that. But back then it was more of it, I feel like. Of course, I wasn't born during that time. This is the 60s. This is years and years before I was born. I think my parents were even still children at like less than 10 years old when this in the time frame. But anyway, she's still head over heels for him, and her father, being the smart guy he's like, why don't you just go with this nice boy, whatever. And it all turns out to be a setup. The guy he puts her with is just watching her. Is just out to watch her because they want to find the guy and they want to, for some reason, he wants to kill him. Like, man, I think that's taking a little too far, but that's the amount of hate this guy has inside him. I mean, I go on about that, but he winds up killing an innocent guy, thinking it's her boyfriend. Which I'm like, oh man, I gotta have to die. That was messed up. What else happened in there? This turned out to be a pretty good show. Still is a pretty good show. So what else happens in this episode? Bumpy. He is this problem with the quality and constant. What, it's not necessarily constant, so he didn't solve all his problems, but he winds up getting this heroin from the police of all places because this guy the Italian fellow who had his daughter followed by the guy also has the police chasing Bumpy, and they try to set him up. They're not successful because of the connections that Bumpy has. And I talk about some other things that happen in this episode too, but I just want to point this out. They're doing a great job of sneaking in little tidbits of or little tidbits of information. So they're put into the spotlight why the Italian mafia was so successful in America, because of the unity they had. Now, of course, everybody's not going to like everybody. That's a given. But if you could set those aside for the greater good, and if you can't, you can get rolled over. But if all those differences can be set aside for the greater good, like I just said earlier, 2 brains are always better than 1. Now, if you put 9 or 10 brains together, that's even better, right? And that's essentially what they're doing, and that's essentially what they've done, and why they were so successful. And Bumpy brings this point up to a fellow black entrepreneur such as himself, or businessman. He brings that up to him, but automatically when he's like, "Oh, you're going to be the lead guy or boss," no, thank you. I'm doing my own thing, that is what it is. I can't really dissect that too much. That is what it is. So Bumpy, proven to be quite the ruthless character, pulls out this razor blade and just puts a nice little puts a nice slit in the guy's neck. And now he has control of his army and his territory, I'm assuming. So what else happens in this episode? Oh, talked about the daughter. Talked about the police. I think I talked about everything. Hopefully, I didn't miss too much. Um, yeah. So if you like me trying to remember what I just watched, or for other shows, I've got Breaking Bad. I've got The Mandalorian, which I didn't really like doing, but I did it anyway. Sorry for the long-winded thing. Um, I'm doing Futurama. I've got The Wire. Yeah, and I got some movies on there too. So go check out my other videos and subscribe too.